You're listening to the Quint's podcast.
The First Lady and I have just traveled 8,000 miles around the globe to deliver a message to every citizen across this nation. America loves India, America respects India, and America will always be faithful and loyal friends to the Indian people.
The eagle has landed. The president is in India, and day one of Namaste Trump has kicked off with all eyes on Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump in Gujarat. Donald Trump arrived in India on 24th February. As Air Force One touched down, the US President, First Lady Melania, and daughter Ivanka received a red carpet welcome, complete with a display of traditional music and dance by hundreds of artists at the airport itself. The Modi government has spared no expense for the two-day visit, which is Trump's first standalone official visit to India as the US president. So what's gonna come out of President Trump's visit? And how will Donald Trump's visit to India affect India-US relations? Hello and welcome to the Big Story podcast, where we dissect headline-making news. I'm Vishnu Gopinath. Today we're joined by distinguished fellow at the Observer Research Foundation, Manoj Joshi.
And so I'm glad that the president has stuck to the key issue that we're really talking about. That is the India-United States strategic relationship, meaning the relationship larger in terms of global politics. And he's very much stuck to the script there.
As well as former ambassador Vishnu Prakash.
So we are trying to manage our relations, we are trying to engage with China. But there is a plan B, there is another string to the bow.
The hype around Trump's visit has been massive, starting well before he touched down in India. We've covered the preparation that's gone into Namaste Trump in detail in our previous episodes. I'll leave a link to that in the show notes. In Ahmedabad alone, the administration has reportedly paid over 80 crore rupees for the deployment of around 12,000 police personnel, along with widening roads and improving infrastructure around Motera Stadium, all in anticipation of Trump's visit. That amount is an estimated 1 to 1.5% of the Gujarat Home Ministry's annual budget. Trump's visit started with a personal reception and the first of many hugs from Prime Minister Narendra Modi at Ahmedabad airport. The two leaders, along with the first family, began the visit with a trip to Sabarmati Ashram, Mahatma Gandhi's home, and the spot where Gandhi began the historic Dandi March. Remember, this visit it's kind of a sequel to Prime Minister Modi's joint address with Trump in Houston, Texas in September 2019. Howdy Modi was attended by over 50,000 members of the Indian diaspora in the US. Namaste Trump saw a turnout of over 110,000 people just at the stadium. Another 1 lakh plus were outside the stadium, lining the roads that led to Motera Stadium from the Ahmedabad airport. That's the same stadium that Trump is in India to inaugurate. So why is this trip significant for both India and the US? I asked defense expert Manoj Joshi.
See, both Modi and Trump love spectacles. Okay, so howdy Modi, it's kind of over the top. Can you even imagine someone like Prime Minister Manmohan Singh doing something like that? You see, so there are.
I have to stop you here. Is that essentially a bad thing?
Not necessarily. Meaning each one has their style, and Modi likes spectacles. Trump likes spectacles. I think that the both of them are politicians, and both of them look at it through political lenses. Both Trump and Modi, when they look at what is happening in Motera, the whole tamasha, as it were, they would be wondering how is it going to play with the electorate back home. Yeah. So Trump is targeting the Gujarati Americans back home. There are a significant community in the US. Particularly in New York, there are some 100,000, 1 lakh Gujaratis, and New York is a blue state, So at this stage, when you're up for re-election, you're counting every vote. So Trump is looking at Motera through the eyes of someone who's going to face an election at the end of this year. Prime Minister Modi is looking at it with the whole nation, that when people across the nation see him with the most powerful man in the world, hugging and being friendly and all that, he hopes that it rubs off. So it has not just with the domestic audience as such, he's not facing an election as such, but also with the international community. In the sense that when the President of France or Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of Japan, so he hopes that some of this will have a rub-off effect and enhance his global standing.
Like Mr. Joshi said, this visit is all about reasserting the India-US connect and relationship.
The First Lady and I have just traveled 8,000 miles around the globe to deliver a message to every citizen across this nation. America loves India, America respects India, and America will always be faithful and loyal friends to the Indian people.
Want to hear the rest of this podcast? Check out the link to the full episode in the description below and follow the Quint on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, JioSaavn, and all other platforms we are on.